Again, right back.
So we are continuing to work with the dealers and looking at processes in other states, specifically with regard to ensuring that it's an easier process and it's a quick process. So we're continuing to work with them on that particular point, and I think that's what he was referring to. But to imply that this bill is set out to make cars sit on lots and depreciate, that's just not right.
What is your understanding of, on average, how long it takes to clear one of these liens? Because I think that's what the gentleman was referring to.
Right.
They send it to a bank, and the bank doesn't respond, and then they send it to DMV, and it gets lost in the paperwork. What has been your...
Well, I actually, I'm going to let Rosemary Sheehan answer this, but I can tell you years ago, I worked for a company that financed cars, and I know that you can pay off cars very quickly, and I think within 24 hours. That was many years ago, but I know that that process can move very quickly, but I'll have Rosemary give you more specific update information.
Just before you testify, the point I'm interested in is I can understand where the dealer pays it off very quick, but then they lose control, it seems to me. They send a check to the lender, and then it's out of their control. If the lender doesn't act promptly, they don't have any power to make them act, and then send it to DMV to get the actual title. That's what bothers me, and I'm trying to find out just how long does that process normally take.
And there are processes that are working in other states that do work quickly that we're looking at as well, and let Rosemary speak to that.
Yes, and actually we share that concern, and we're willing to work with the opponents on, tightening that provision of the bill. We want it to be a rational, workable process. We don't want to impede commerce. We looked at other states and what they're doing, and one of the states, to answer your question about how long it takes, Washington State has a 48-hour window, and they say that they have, it's not a silver bullet, but it's very good compliance. And so what happens is the consumer trades in the car, the consumer's taking out a loan, the dealer pulls the consumer's credit report, and they know at that point within $100 how much the consumer owes on the car. They know how much they're going to have to pay on the lien, and they can pay it right away electronically. They can pay it certainly within 48 hours. They're complying in Washington State. We took a look at many states and how they're addressing this. In some states, require that the dealer actually get title to the car. And when we talked with the dealers in the DMV, they said that would be too cumbersome and time-consuming. So we came up with just paying off the lien and being able to demonstrate that they've done that as an alternative that would give them more flexibility.
All right, thank you, Senator.
So hopefully that answers that part. Just in conclusion, I can't overemphasize the fact that, people have talked about the fund, and that's fine, but we're really trying to prevent people from ending up going down this terrible road in the first place. We just want to make sure they don't end up innocently trading in a car, purchasing a new car, and ending up with a nightmare of, multiple car loans to pay off and a ruined credit rating. That's really what the bill is about. So it's protecting people before the fact. It really doesn't help people very much to be able to access a fund after their credit rating has been ruined. That's where the damage is. And the fund, there's questions whether the fund will even be sufficient to deal with all of the problems that are out there, so I raised that as well. So I just ask for your support of this measure. It's well thought out. We're working with the industry, and the reason I made the big deal about the changes that have been made is I just want to make it clear that people do understand what the bill actually says, and that we've been sensitive to the issues, the legitimate issues that have been raised, and continuing to work on the issue of showing the proof. We want to have real proof, but continuing to work on that issue to ensure that it's a process that is quick, because that helps the consumer too. We of course, will continue to work on that and try to solve that. And with that, I hope you'll support the bill.
Mr. Chair.
All right, yes, Senator Leno.
One of the comments of concern noted in the analysis is with regard to the ability for or the willingness of bonding companies to underwrite the risk of indemnifying dealers with your bill in law. But we heard testimony from the underwriter, and I didn't remember hearing any concern.
That's right.
Have you heard of any?
No, they are not in opposition to the bill, and the bill, we're trying to make sure the bill is clear and narrow so that we can continue to have the ability to have bonding. I wouldn't want to do anything in this bill that would stop that practice. That's a very important consumer protection. So we want to make sure that the bonds are available to the dealers, and we're not going to do something that's going to, create a problem there.
Well, as I stated earlier, I thought the testimony on both sides was very compelling, so I'm glad to hear that you will continue to work with the industry to make sure that their voice is heard. But the situation is so desperate, I think your bill is quite necessary, and so I would make a motion that we pass it out of committee.
Thank you very much.
As amended.
And I assume that would be a motion to pass as amended.
As amended.
As amended, thank you. Any further comments from committee members? Seeing none, we have a motion. Secretary, call roll.
The motion is to pass as amended to Senate Appropriations Committee. Corbett? Aye. Corbett, aye. Harmon?
No.
Harmon, no. Flores? Flores, aye. Leno?
Aye.
Leno, aye. Walters? No. Walters, no. 3 to 2, sir.
3 to 2, that bill is out. Thank you, Senator Corbett.